Hi, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. Today's subject, an easy way to create an inside-out swing path. A lot of people struggle with this. They really need to give you two backswing keys, two variables / keys on the follow-through, and then a little hidden key at the end. You have to get that right. If you're going to accomplish this, you'll see it's fairly easy. Well, very briefly, if you're new to this channel, would love it if you'd subscribe. If you do, hit the little button there, with the little bell I should say. You'll be notified every time a new video is coming your way. I hope you'll check out our app at the App Store, Scratch Golf Academy. Lots of tools and training things you'll love to take out to the driving range, free to you. Check out the Scratch Golf Academy app. Justin Rose on the left, young Tiger Woods on the right. Let's have a look. What is this coming from the inside? The inside is always the side of the target line you're standing on as the golfer. The outside's the opposite side there. So we're saying the club would come from the golfer's side of the target line. I like to refer to it as more at the side of the body over here. It stays on that side of the target line. You can see it there from the inside till the last instant, and it doesn't really go to the outside, not on a normal shot, but it travels momentarily up the target line and begins to come back in, but more gradually than most people that cut across it swing much more over here. I'd say just under that lead shoulder is about the look you'd want if you film yourself. So again, Tiger Woods, club stays perpetually on the side of the line that he's standing on to the target line, momentarily up it perhaps, and then again right about that shoulder as an exit point. Okay, couple of principles here regards the backswing. It is definitely easier to get on an inside path if you're a little bit what I'd call deeper in the backswing. If you've got a big Freddie Couples upright backswing, obviously he can do it. You have to really drop it in. So a couple of cues here, a couple of keys. Don't roll the club. If you get the club rolled trying to get flat going back, almost certainly it's going to start to come over and wobble and get this way. How hard is that to do? Not hard at all. If you took a little bucket and someone said to you from a golf posture, hey, just put that on the shelf over here, would you feel compelled to roll the contents out? Of course you wouldn't. So a little bit of this is okay, a little bit of wrist cock. It's as simple as just putting the bucket on the shelf there, no roll, just let the hands go to that position. The next thing, now listen, I'm not saying something you don't have to work a bit to put things together and get things as a habit, find solid contact, but in and of themselves, none of these things are difficult. Otherwise, a lot of people couldn't do it. Okay, second thing in the backswing, when you get those hands in a slightly deeper position, don't make the mistake of moving your body over there, either in that dimension or in that dimension. If you do that, if your trunk moves, you're going to tend to go back down towards the ball, cause the club to go this way. So simply, let me grab this bucket again. Get used to what it would feel like to put the bucket in the proper position, but keep yourself over here. Really not that difficult to do. So let's get into the downswing a little bit here. Before we do that, below this video is a link to a 3-part video series called Solid Strike Formula. It's free. Hope you'll check that out maybe at the end of the video. Pick it up for yourself. Dustin Johnson, here's an important principle. He's about getting ready to come into impact. You can see the end of the club, maybe the logo of his glove is parallel to that yellow line I've drawn. Watch that logo start to rise, and you can see the hands overall are rising as he goes through impact. It is a major mistake to think you need to hit overall down when you're getting into the golf ball. Believe me, there is enough forward shaft lane, especially in his case. He's going to get a downward hit registered if he had a launch monitor, but the swing itself in total, the hands and the handle should be rising a bit more as they go through impact. Now, the more you swing up, this is just a geometrical fact, the less you'll swing around. So you're looking, if you're a person that's cutting across it, you're looking to swing more up the target line, up off the ground. Low, again, will equal around. Let's look at a couple of features of that. Let's say Justin Rose, we'll put him next to Fred Couples, for instance. And what you'll notice, watch his hips stay pretty centered in the backswing. They pivot. Now watch them in the downswing. They slide. His head's pretty still. They slide. And then his hips start to tuck up under him, so you see this look. That helps get the club up in front of you. Let's have a look at Fred Couples. Slides again, head pretty still, and that helps him get the club rising and swinging up in front of him a little bit. Not every great player slides as much as that, no question about it. Here's, let's say, Davis Love, certainly less lateral. There's some lateral, but more of a rotary kind of a look. And let's have a look quickly at Dustin Johnson from the rear view hitting a driver here. So you'll notice not only look at the pool screen behind him, watch his hips very much in one spot as they pivot going back. Watch him slide towards the target, and not only that, watch his hips thrust up off the ground, his glutes thrust underneath him as he goes through. Not too bad there. Okay. Biggest single thing, get out of this trap that most people have of hitting down and hitting at the ball. You just saw there the club should be rising in total. The club should be rising, swinging out to the target. So that's a very big underlying key. Now, a couple of thoughts we'll have, a couple of keys for this downswing. We'll look at it from two angles, then we'll get to that little tip I said at the beginning that's critical at the end of this video. You'll need to mix it in. Key number one, keep your head fairly still in the downswing, but let the bottom of your spine, let your hips shift towards the target. As we say, different players do this a little bit different amounts, but it is invaluable. If your head stays fairly still and your hips slide forward somewhat, you are creating much more of a straight line type of swing. If these hips stay underneath you and you just turn, guess what? The club's going around you. In addition to that, this is number two, we need some hip extension. That's pushing the hips forward. Early extensions towards the ball, we need it extended that way. So as my hips slide a bit and I start to get through impact, I want to feel these glutes tuck up underneath me. It causes that club to rise so much better, keeps the arms and club in front of you. So you need some hip slide, some hip tuck, or some hip extension if you like. Now listen, before we move on, look from the other view. People so often think, oh, that's complicated, I couldn't do that. I am telling you, if you had a golf club, no ball, you had a 15-foot fence in front of you about 10 yards up, and you had to throw it over the fence, you would naturally angle your body this way. That's how you would be able to throw it up in the air. So it isn't that difficult, it isn't a mysterious move. Let's do one little shot, and I'm going to suggest putting it on a tee for a lot of people. That helps them feel like they can swing up and still hit the ball. Soft pace. Hold it right there. Everything's up in front of me. Let's have a look from there. Okay, before we move on here, just ask yourself a question. If you had to throw a club without the ball relatively in a straight direction, is it conceivable that for a decade or so you could only throw the thing to the left despite taking throwing lessons? Filming yourself going through 100 sort of gyrations meant, of course it's not. You wouldn't happen 3 times in a row probably. So in your mind's eye, hey, if you've been cutting across this isn't that relaxed. What the problem most people have, they just have a ravenous desire for solid contact at a full speed. They get locked onto the ball and they just can't shift things. So let's have another little look here, then we'll get into that final key. Put the ball on a tee. You can certainly see that if my hips slide a little bit and don't turn quite as much, it's helping send the club in that direction. Obviously I don't want to early extend towards the ball, but if I thrust out there, the hands and arms will get higher here. Big key, not club head higher, handle of club head, wrists higher. That's what you're looking for. Let me hit a little shot. We'll talk about the finish position. So as I hold that, it's a little exaggerated. I'm literally looking through the shaft of my thumbs at the target. Be broad brush, be playful, fiddle around with it. In no time flat, you'll start to get this, especially if you've put the backswing things in there. Final tip here now. If you've been slicing, which is typically what people that cut across it do, you've been leaving the club face open. If you start swinging the club on plane and don't sort the club face out, you'll hit the ball worse. You'll hit it a million miles to the right. It'll be hard to keep it up. It won't help you if you do keep it up. So the thoughts there, pretty simple. You guessed it, just going to close the club face. Don't whip at it, that isn't necessary. Turn it. So when you hit some little shots, turn the face more towards the ground here, and as you feel the wrists more in front of you, feel the face is tumbled that way a little bit more. We'll just do a small one. You can see the ball went low left. Just turn the face a little bit. You don't have to work on everything, every swing, but feature this in a little bit. It's a big difference maker. I hope that was helpful for you. If you leave a question or comment, I'll try to get to as many as I can. You can do this, just camp out with it a little bit. You can build this skill. It really isn't that difficult.